The Duke's Heart. A Sweet Victorian Romance. By Marina Pacheco. Chapter 1. Well, here I am, lord and master of all I survey, Felix thought, 10th Duke of Morley, and finally in complete control of my land and my money. It's a gratifying turnout, Aunt Lavinia said as she returned to Felix, after having guided one of the guests to a comfortable chair. Do you think so? Felix said, as he gazed at the collection of ancients his aunt had gathered for his birthday. Aside from his enormous Uncle Marmaduke, working his way through a plate piled high with delectable morsels, he doubted any of the rest were under the age of 50. There were also only about a dozen people invited. The numerous plants, emerald green wallpaper, thick Chinese silk carpet and deep velvet curtains overwhelmed them almost to obscurity. A life-sized portrait of his grandfather, the 8th Duke, had more life than the rest combined, and seemed to glare disapprovingly at his grandson from the opposite wall. It all added up to an uncomfortable experience. It would have been nice to have a few younger people, and more people in general. I would like to widen my circle of acquaintances. Felix had lost the particular battle of meeting more people years ago. But he couldn't resist saying something now, as he leaned back in the green leather wingback chair he always used. It provided support, without making it too obvious that he needed it. The chair was next to the fire that was burning brightly. An ornate screen embroidered with a Chinese-style dragon was pulled in front of the fire to protect him both from direct heat, and from any smoke that might escape the chimney. His aunt wafted her fan at it, to blow away any additional wayward wisps. It would be far too dangerous for your heart. It was what she always said as a clincher in any argument they ever had. Felix suppressed a sigh as he watched the flames. He wished his cousin Arthur could be here. Arthur was in India now, pursuing what would doubtless be a great career in the civil service. His cousin Percy had also promised to drop in, but as he was a member of the Horse Guards and a prized guest at any of the season's many parties, he was in high demand. Felix even wished his female cousins, ensconced in the nursery upstairs, could join them and add some liveliness to the party. As it was, all he had were the most elderly of his relatives, carefully selected by his Aunt Lavinia, to ensure that none of them overexcited him. She had clearly given this as her strict instruction to all the guests. As a result, they had all approached him with some trepidation. They wished him well upon achieving his majority, and then retired a little distance away to continue a hushed conversation amongst themselves. Felix was left with his aunt, who stood to his right, like a guardian angel, one guest said. She was undoubtedly a guardian. The second sister of his father, the daughter of a duke and a formidable woman. Aunt Lavinia had taken it upon herself to raise Felix when his father died in a hunting accident. None could doubt her dedication to keeping him alive. But try as he might, Felix couldn't see her as an angel. Arthur had recently sent him some photographs of life in India. He'd taken to his new hobby of photography with enthusiasm. One of the photos was of a rhinoceros, with an amusing anecdote about trying to shift this immovable creature from the railway tracks it had decided to sleep on. Felix was forcibly struck by the idea that his aunt was like a rhinoceros. It didn't help that she had a rather prominent nose. Today she was dressed in a deep green many-layered velvet.